Hey, what's going on guys? It's me, Aiden, from Cartoon Apocalypse, and welcome back to another video talking about the Owl House. Now this video is going to be talking about episode 3, and that was I Was a Teenage Abomination. So if you haven't seen this episode for some reason, I would recommend going to watch it. But this video is going to be sort of talking about my thoughts about this episode, so let's go ahead and hop right into it. So the impression that this episode gave off to me was sort of the end of the introduction of this show. Now what do I mean by that? Basically, every single show has this little introduction period where it introduces the viewer to sort of what we can expect to see in the show. So for example, episode 1 was introducing us to Ida and King, and I guess Luz as well. Episode 2 was sort of Luz getting used to this whole world and everything, and it sort of gave us an idea of what kind of adventures we might see. And then episode 3 was introducing the side characters that we will be seeing throughout the show. Now they could include episode 4 and have that introduce us to something else and include that into the little introduction arc, but for the most part, we know the characters, or at least the characters that I think we'll be seeing throughout the show pretty commonly, and yeah, it was just a really good episode. Probably my favorite one, actually. Now the focus of episode 3 was obviously the school, and that school is called the Hex Side School. And if you're interested, the mascot is a banshee. Now I think one of the reasons why I like this episode so much is that the whole school idea was really thought out well. You can tell the writers really put thought into sort of how this school would run. They know exactly what classes are going on at what times behind the scenes. Even though we may never hear about them, you can definitely tell that that's something that they've written down just for themselves. And even though we may never see something like that, just the fact that they do it really shows that this show is going to be so good, because for some reason a show when it's fully thought out is so much better than a show that just kind of goes on and doesn't exactly know where they're headed. So you can definitely tell that this show has a plan of action and it's gonna stick to that. And kind of piggybacking off of that idea, every single student has a different track. There's different tracks of magic in this school, and we actually get to see a small glimpse of what those extra tracks are. So if we look at this screenshot, we can see some banners up at the top left, and then the students. And now the color of the uniform that the students wear directly correlates to what track you're in. So for example, Willow is wearing a sort of pinkish outfit, and that was because she was in the Abomination track, and now her outfit's green because now she's on the plant track. Now those are the only two track names that we have here, but up at the top left here on this screenshot, we can actually see different symbols for the other tracks. Now this is not all of the tracks by any means, because we can see the girl in the bottom right is wearing a red outfit and we don't see a red banner up there. And for example, two guys sort of in the middle, one person there has yellow and then the other person has orange, and we only see a yellow/orange banner up at the top left. So I think it's safe to assume that the orange is going to be more of potion brewing, and sadly there is no other screenshot of the other banners, so we don't get to see the full picture of what they're displaying here. The dark blue looks like sort of the bottom part of a hand with little bandages coming off. Maybe that's like a puppeteer kind of track. I really don't know, that's just one guess that I have. And then the lighter blue one, it could be like a weaponry one, because those two bone looking things sticking down sort of look like the bottom of a sword, or it could be something with bones, like maybe a necromancy track. I don't know, but it is cool to see that they have fully thought this entire school thing out. They have a list of tracks, they have a list of students, and even though we might never see all these different students that they have, they still have it planned out, and I love that. I think it's super amazing. Now there is at least 6 different tracks, because we have the 4 banners that we can see there, and then there's an additional yellow, red, and purple. Now there could be more than that, but there's at least 6. And at the moment we know 3 of the 6, one being the potions, the other being the plant, and then the other one being Abomination. Now I'm actually kind of sad that this episode ended the way it did, because Luz is now banned from the school. Now we're obviously still going to be seeing Willow and all of her school friends, but we're not going to be seeing her enroll in the school. And to me, that's actually sad, because they've put so much thought into the school, and there's so much to learn from it, and so much that they could do. There's so much potential there that I'm just kind of sad that we're not going to be actually seeing that all played out. Now don't get me wrong, I'm sure we'll still see the school and we'll still have like side plots with Luz's friends, but for the most part I think we're going to be focusing more on Luz and her adventures with Ida versus Luz and her friends. Now I'm not saying that one way is better than the other, I'm just saying that the route that the show writers chose to take was the route with Luz and Ida. Now I'm still talking about this school because the school was the main focus of this episode, but being in the school really introduced us to a whole bunch of different character designs that look more human-like than just straight up demons. And one thing that I really love about this show is the character designs. The character designs are amazing. All the characters are super unique, and a lot of times you'll see like, oh, I recognize that sort of hairstyle from other shows and whatnot, but this show is entirely unique. Like, a lot of the hairstyles, even for the background characters, are hairstyles that I haven't seen on any characters ever before. Now maybe I just haven't seen a lot of shows, but honestly, it's really amazing how unique each character is. And again, I am sad that we're not really going to be able to meet these characters and see who they are, because really they look like they're fully written out. I guarantee you, if you pointed to a character, Dana Terrence could say, oh, this is this character, she likes all of these things, and she's enrolled in this class, and she has this many friends, and she has this amount of homework each day, she lives in this town, in this city, on this street. I guarantee you, she has everything written down. She has mapped out the entire Burning Isles, I think that's what it's called. But basically, Dana Terrence really has proved that this show is fully written out, and I really love that. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention about this episode is that it proves that most of the people living in the Burning Isles actually know a decent amount about humans. Like, judging based off of Augustus, they know a good chunk of the human society, or at least some of it. Like, they get a bunch of human different stuff like floating into the Burning Isles. And I definitely think that that's interesting. I don't know if it really means anything or if it'll affect things for the future, but it just means that humans aren't just these random creatures that nobody knows anything about. They're pretty famous to this world. But overall, this third episode is probably my favorite episode out of all 3 episodes that we've seen. It was really well written. I love just how fully developed everything felt. And really, this episode just gets me super hyped for the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. Because, you know what, it's only going to get better from here, because this was just the introduction arc. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. If you did enjoy, you can leave a like and subscribe for more content similar to this. Stay tuned for next Saturday when I make another video talking about the next episode of The Owl House, because I'm sure there will be stuff to talk about. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
It's called positive reinforcement, Ida, and it works wonders.